Well, that was an eventful Mexican Grand Prix, wasn't it? Yeah, we got a safety car, a virtual safety car. Max Verstappen, right at the start, was absolutely electric, wasn't he? From P3 straight into the first position, and off he went from there. Comfortable race win for him in the end. Even after that safety car restart, managed to keep that place and won by 14 seconds. I think it would have been much more in a normal race scenario. He was comfortably ahead, wasn't he? Even at that red flag, I think he was about 19 seconds ahead of Lewis, who was behind him at that point in the race. That was just before all the pits sort of shook off. Absolutely phenomenal from him. And then Sergio Perez was the other big mover, wasn't he? A fantastic launch from 5th place, and he did what Lewis did to George Russell, didn't he? Where they clipped each other and off Lewis went out, and this time sadly it was Perez in his home race. I think he had to go for that move, considering if he'd pulled it off, it would have been into first place in his home race, and who knows what he could have done from there. But yeah, he'll be massively disappointed, as was the crowd, weren't they? Nothing really Charles Leclerc could do there. He just got sandwiched between two Red Bulls. Ferrari didn't really get away well at all, did they? Both Ferraris, and they sort of were just looking in their mirrors, trying to keep position, one keeping Perez back and one keeping Max back. Didn't do either successful, really, did they? Perez just caught himself out on that one. And then we seen Lewis Hamilton. He had a nice battle with Daniel Ricciardo early on, and then a battle with Sainz. Leclerc for that second place was brilliant. George Russell just held on for Daniel Ricciardo at the end. Lando Norris had a brilliant drive. But yeah, let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad of the race, and we'll start with the good. Lando Norris made up 12 places to finish in P5 after a horrendous day on Saturday. He was absolutely mega. He got driver of the day, and absolutely rightly so. Yeah, I mean, had he qualified better, I think he would have been in a battle with Lewis Hamilton for P2, because his pace was brilliant on that medium tyre. Brilliant job from him. Nothing bad you can say about that, apart from he probably was just hoping for better on Saturday, but it wasn't to be. Next on the 3 good, I'm going to go for Lewis Hamilton. A P6 start, got a 2nd place, beat Daniel Ricciardo, and then beat the 2 Ferraris. I think the Ferraris probably shot themselves in the foot a little bit, especially early on. They ran longer, thinking that a 7-lap difference on tyres might give them enough to beat Lewis at the end. I guess we would never really have found out, but it just looked like if they just pitted and matched Lewis effectively the next lap, protecting themselves from the undercut, especially with Leclerc, I think they would have had enough pace down that start straight to keep Lewis behind. Sainz sort of did that comfortably with Russell for long periods. So yeah, I think they probably in hindsight wouldn't have done that again, but what a fantastic job from Lewis though. Great move on the medium tyres at the second start, wasn't it, after the red flag, to make that move, and Charles Leclerc kept the tyres, and the fastest lap at the end of the race was just topped it up. Brilliant points. And had he kept his second place from last time out in Austin, he'd only be a point behind Sergio Perez for second in the championship, and that would be absolutely magnificent. There's still chance, but not many races to go now. For the next third or the 3rd good, I'm struggling here because I'll give it to Daniel Ricciardo, a P4 quali, P7 in the race, some fantastic amount of points for Alpha Tauri. He had a tremendous weekend. I don't think anyone would have saw him, especially qualifying to P4, and he held on his own really well, kept Lewis back early on to lap 11, and then he wasn't really ever going to be able to keep up with some of the guys behind him, but to finish P7 he's kept a McLaren back, and he nearly got George Russell at the end. The other one I'm going to give a shout out to is Alex Albon. He made up 5 places, and after a horrible Saturday got some valuable points for the Williams team in P9. He did a great job also. On to the 3 bad, it's a double DNF for Aston Martin, and they were horrible all weekend. Poor in qualifying and poor in the race. Fernando Alonso ran at the back before he retired, and same for Lance Stroll. They just didn't have any pace whatsoever. And they can only just hope for better in Brazil next time out. Not really sure what has gone on here, because they've bought upgrades. They don't seem to have worked any of the upgrades that they've made. So there's got some real issues with what they're seeing in the wind tunnel and in the simulator for what's actually correlating and turning up on track. A lot of work to do. It's a shame that they've got this sort of triple header, haven't they, where they haven't got a break to go and fix things for the next race. It's kind of almost like the flyaway races. They're out where they are, and they're just going to have to try and make do and work something out for Brazil. Next of the three bad is the Haas team. The upgrades just haven't really propelled them forward to where we expect them to be. Nico Hülkenberg still pulling off a decent qualifying lap to get them into a decent starting position, but again, they're just chewing away their tyres. They did hold on a little bit better than what we've seen in the past, but again, race pace was just so poor, and they really need to be getting points now. I think they are now last in the Constructors' Championship after this weekend, after the brilliant job of the Alpha Tauri drivers, or Daniel Ricciardo anyway. So yeah, really much needed points, and they need to try and get something out of this upgrade. It was a massive upgrade, and a lot of hype gone behind it, and so far it's flopped quite badly, hasn't it? Much like Aston Martin. The next of the three bad, I'm going to go for George Russell, because he is lucky to have finished in that 6th place and just kept off Daniel Ricciardo. And actually, he's been poor, hasn't he? Lewis Hamilton is up there fighting for 2nd place, and he just seems way back, doesn't he? Not really sure what's gone on with him, but he'll have a lot of head scratching to do. And last time out he won in Brazil, so you know he'll be hoping to put some of the wrongs right next time out, and he's got a job to do there. But yeah, it was a much better Mexican Grand Prix, wasn't it, than I kind of expected anyway. I think it did help with that red flag mid-race. It meant that we then got some guys going on the mediums, and actually it worked really well for Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris. Yeah, absolutely magnificent drives from the pair of them. Max Verstappen comfortable out front. I think that's now 16 wins. It's a record for him in a season, and I think he probably will go on for a few more now with to the end of the season, because he just absolutely looks unstoppable in that car. A fantastic job from him. But yeah, watch out for the driver ratings video coming up shortly, and the race preview of Brazil middle of the week. And then yeah, just 1 week's time, next weekend we go to Brazil, sprint race weekend. I absolutely love that race. It's always absolutely magnificent. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. I'll see you next time.